Hey, it's Gagne with YouTube channel Gamebits, here to unbox the Nintendo Switch 2, released 8 years after the Nintendo Switch 1. Now, the Switch 2 is not the sort of revolution that we saw from Nintendo with the Wii and the original Switch, but it is an iterative improvement over the Switch 1 that we've all been enjoying for the last 8 years. It's got a bigger screen, it has higher processing power so it can play all the new games and backwards compatibility with old games, better Joy-Cons, all of which I'm about to show you in this unboxing video, so stay tuned.
So here it is, the Nintendo Switch 2, released Thursday, June 5th, 2025. The first new Nintendo console since the original Switch, released March 3rd, 2017. This is one of the fastest selling consoles of all time. I got mine by waiting in line back in April at GameStop in Englewood, Colorado. It actually wasn't that hard. I just got there an hour before they opened and I was like number 23 out of 64 in line. So I picked this up on launch day and finally I got my hands on it. So let's see what the box looks like. Here we have some stickers that GameStop put on it. I don't know why, number 5, number 34. One thing I am very glad they didn't put on it, staples. No staples. Good news. Let's see, it says that we got HDMI, which is great because that means playing with power. Oh yeah. On the side here, we have the Joy-Cons being played in detached mode. 1, 2, 3, 4 hands. I'm guessing that's 2-player mode. And on the other side, we have it being played with the Joy-Cons attached. These are, of course, the Joy-Con 2s. And on the back, we have, again, the system. Up here, we have the Nintendo logo. And that's pretty much all we got on the outside. Let's see what's in the box. All right, opening it up. And let's see. There we go. And all right. So right there, that is the Switch 2. The screen is right there, so that's why staples were a bad idea. They could puncture the screen. And here are the Joy-Con 2s with the new magnetic connectors to the Switch itself. I'll be taking all this out of the plastic once I get everything out of the box. You only get one shot at an unboxing video, and then you're just reboxing it. All right. Lift this up. Oh, wait, no. Don't lift it up, because there's something inside. It's the manual. Is this what counts for a manual these days? Very fine print. I am getting older. I'm many years older than when I did my Wii U unboxing. And HDMI cable, great. You can never have too many of those. These are usually not, or I don't think ever, proprietary to a specific system. There are better or worse HDMI cables. So if you have an HDMI cable you're already using, such as for your Switch 1, odds are you can use that, but I'm not a lawyer. Here we have some Joy-Con straps so that they don't go flying into your TV when you're playing bowling or tennis games. Always a risk. Now we can lift this up and see what's underneath. Let's see. Here is a USB cable for charging the Switch. And here is the AC adapter. I'll be connecting those in just a moment. Those go together. Put those right there. Then we have the grip. I don't know if that's the official name, but this is what the original Switch Joy-Cons, or I'm sorry, the Switch 2 Joy-Cons slide into when they're not connected to the Switch itself. So I'll put that there. And I'll be comparing all these to the original peripherals from the Switch 1 as well. And then there's a big boy down here. This must be the dock. All right, now that's everything, so I'm gonna set the box aside. Give us more room to play with what was in the box. And there is the Switch dock. It is much rounder and sleeker than the original one. And let's see, it has 2 USB 3 ports right there. Nintendo isn't going the way of USB-C yet. That opens up, ooh, that actually snaps right off. I don't know if that was supposed to happen. Let's see, we still have the USB-C for power, HDMI, and that looks like Ethernet. For the first time ever, we have an Ethernet port. We don't need an adapter, which is awesome. And that snaps back on. Should that? Yeah, I guess that does snap right off. It doesn't swing down like on the original Switch. If it does, if it is supposed to stay connected, then I'm doing something wrong. And I'm sure I'll hear about it in the comments. All right, so let's put these things together. Let's start with the Joy-Cons. And let's see. Let's see how these go with the strap first. Well, let's do it color-coded. I'm sure the blue one could go on the orange one, but that wouldn't look very good now, would it? So the way this works is there is a small plus sign on the Joy-Con strap, and you align that with the plus button on the Joy-Con. Start from the bottom, and it snaps right on. And then you can put it around your wrist, tighten it like that, and you're good to play. This makes the buttons more accessible, easier and bigger to press, all good things. And then to take it off, you can't just tug it off. There is a release button, this right here. You push that, and it pops it right off. Without pushing that button, the magnetic hold is just way too strong. It's really quite impressive how tightly these connect. Now, this is the Joy-Con that also has the new C button for using the camera and online chat, a specific button just for that. Otherwise, the buttons are pretty much the same. The Joy-Con controller, the stick right here, is not Hall effect. I will be honest with you, I don't know what that means, but a lot of people are upset about it, so I figure I should acknowledge it. And then, same thing with plugging it into the grip. We can do the same thing with the other Joy-Con, which is right here, the blue one. Bottom to top. There we go. And now it is ready to play. Looks kind of boring and all black, but it feels otherwise good. And again, those buttons are right there. It comes right off. Fantastic. Let's try connecting them to the Switch itself. Oy. And this is the mother load. This is the system itself. This is what we've all been so excited about. It's got USB-C ports on the top and bottom for easier charging. That is where the game goes, right there. And let's see, that is the stand, which I've never used on the original Switch. If you use it, great, but I don't think it's very valuable. Looks like we got a micro SD slot right there. Awesome. And the headphone jack remains on the top, which, I don't know. I guess it could be on the bottom, but it works for me, whatever. And there we go. So let's try connecting these Joy-Cons. Same thing, boink, and dink. And there's your handheld Switch 2. That's it, that's the system. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, the AC power comes in two parts. There is the USB-C and there's the power adapter. So you just plug one right into the other, then you plug one into either the dock or the system, and now it'll work. So let's do some comparisons here. I have my original Switch handy. So here is the Switch 1. You can see it is significantly smaller than the Switch 2. I knew that there was going to be a size difference, but this is significant. This is a day one Switch. This is not a Lite. This is not an OLED. This is what I got on March 3rd of 2017. And it looks tiny. It is so tiny. And look at that. It's a whole Joy-Con wider. And yet just as thick or thin, if you prefer. So that they're almost the same in that respect. I like a bigger screen, especially as my eyes get older with the rest of me. So I hope I enjoy this, but it is going to be a different experience to travel with. And I'm a digital nomad. I travel a lot. So this is going to be an interesting experience. Now, the Joy-Cons from the Switch 1 will pair with the Switch 2. You can play games using the Joy-Cons, but they will not connect to the Switch 2, and the Switch 2 will not charge these Joy-Cons. So if you want to use Joy-Con 1s, you have to have a separate charger, or you have to put them on your Switch 1 and dock it or charge it. So that is a big difference right there. I don't yet have a Pro Controller 2. This is the Pro Controller 1. It also works with the Switch 2, with the exception that it doesn't have the camera button. Now, there are also a lot of peripherals that won't work. For example, if I were to reassemble my Joy-Cons onto my Switch 1, I like to put it in this Satisfy grip and play it like that. Obviously, this grip is sized for the Switch 1. So that's a pretty obvious not going to work with the Switch 2 accessory. They are working on a grip for the Switch 2 though, due out this summer. Summer being in the Northern Hemisphere, winter for those of you on the other side of the equator. And the games, almost all Switch 1 games will work with the Switch 2. There is a list on the Nintendo website. A lot of games got free updates. So here, for example, is Breath of the Wild. And that will pop right in to the Switch 2. Same size and everything. It'll work great. And the micro SD cards, they will work on the Switch 2 for the purpose of transferring photos and videos from the Switch 1 to the Switch 2. You cannot use the same card to store games or save game data. You'll need to get a new fancy micro SD card that of a kind that the Switch 2 is specifically compatible with. It's really annoying, it's really expensive. The good news, this Switch 1 came with, I think, 32 gigs of onboard storage. This comes with 256. So already you have more storage here than probably most Switch 1s ever had. So the need for an extra SD card might be somewhat ameliorated in the short term. So that's good news. All right, let's see how, oh, and one more thing. the Ethernet cable that I have for my Switch 1 dock, and oh yeah, we need to compare the docks. So here's the Switch 1 dock. Let me set these aside so I can give you some more room here. Switch 1 dock, Switch 2 dock. Also much larger, as befits a larger system. I'm gonna have to get a Dragon sticker for this. They are available from skinit.com. That's not paid product placement. This is just a thing I really like. They don't have one for the Switch 2 controller yet, like they do for the Switch 1. I hope they're working on it. And yeah, so those are the different docks. And I have an Ethernet adapter, which I started to mention earlier. This is for the Switch 1 dock, not needed with the Switch 2. I mean, sure, I could plug it in right here and use that. But it's redundant because there's already an Ethernet port on the Switch 2. I don't need a second Ethernet port, I don't think, unless you're doing some sort of weird daisy chaining sort of thing. That probably isn't possible unless you're a hacker and you're gonna brick your Switch 2. All right, so that's the unboxing. Let's hook up the system and get playing with power. Super power.